Well, thank you very much, Chairman and Coordinator. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we are very proud to be here as part of II, Israel Aerospace Industries, not only being one of the sponsors here, not only being a delegation all over India, including one here, but real as partners here in India who are sharing our technology, our know-how, even during development, not only in the products. And we feel as part of this community. Let me tell you that every other month I'm here in this country, not only me, but also the chairman of board as well as the president of II. So it's a kind of partnership that we are looking forward. When we discuss the future markets in the world, we are looking not only on technology, we are looking on some other aspects that needs to be dealt with. And the idea is to assess what will happen during 2020. Well, I was asked at the entrance, are you crazy right now to begin assessing what happens in 2020? Well, there are no other choice. We will have to do it. We will have to do the analysis and to see what happens in the future. And indeed, if we have a history of aerospace of about 100 years, what is 10 years? The challenge is that it is not a linear process. It's much more complex. It's a complex because it's we have a revolution every other years. Sometimes it's technical, sometimes it's from the economy, sometimes it comes from or derived from the politics or from security aspects, such as happens in Mumbai. So let me look at it in more details. We will look at some global trends, defense. I'll give some illustrations of what we see in UAV, UCAV, military aircraft systems, and at the end some key technology aspects and services. Well, global trends are important, and when we are looking at the huge picture, we can see that US will continue to lead. We expect some gradual attrition in its dominance because of the increase in the Far East, China, and very well we can see India as a global political position that is going to be strengthened. It is going not only because what we saw here yesterday in the space, in aerospace, but also because of its position, special position in the world. China and Russia continue to challenge the other powers. Security trends. Well, low-intensive conflict, as we had seen here, illustrates the fact that in spite of your huge air force, in spite of the fact that you may have even F-22 or JSF or the most modern munition, you can hardly deal with about dozens of terrorists who are working in Mumbai. You need a different item, you need a different equipment, you need a different method to handle it. You need, for example, persistence, intelligence. You need a pinpoint. One metric ton bomb can hardly do anything in this environment. It's a different ballgame. This ballgame will be part of what we will see in the near future, and we will have to be ready for it. So for the young students who are here, and I'm very happy to be here a guest, let me phrase the words of the previous president here. Let's ignite our minds by ideas of how to handle not only this challenge, but some other challenges that we will see in the future. So, of course, HIC, which is a high-intensive conflict, might happen every several years. We cannot predict well, but I think we have to be prepared for it. Aerospace industries. Well, we feel that there is no room for small business because of the large programs, because of the complexity of integration of various systems, not only from the platform point of view, but from the battlefield. We will need to work in a large scale, which means large companies on the one hand, and on the other hand, a joint development, a joint program and joint development not only from the platform point of view, but from the system and adaptation for the customers. Not every company, not every country would like to have the same network. The American dominance in link 16, for example, is a political decision rather than a technology one. So the Indian forces will have to deal with the issue of, do you want an interoperability with the link 16 or you want a different network? This kind of question involves both a technical and a political aspect and should be dealt with, I think, those who are taking the decision here. Economy. Well, economy, which we took all the resources we have, did some averaging, and it's not guaranteed. What we can see is that up to 3% real growth will happen in the world market. It means that from now to 2020, the market will, or the GDP will increase by about 1/3. About, this is a rough order of magnitude. It means that those who are preparing a large set of programs can think twice. Not only that this will happen, we can see some status quo in Europe, but we can see increase in the Far East, including India, and those who produce oils, and I think the cost of oil will increase in the future. Now let's focus in the defense sector and see some of its aspects. Defense market, of course, are derived from a variety of parameters, which are the economy crisis, and there were some questions addressed to it, and actual political changes, and the regional and interregional status quo, what happens there. Then cutting of budgets happens in Europe, in Poland, in Romania, I mean in constant dollar figures, even in Korea, in Latin America, and we expect to happen in some other nations in the near term. In the midterm and long term, we expect increase, but not uniformly distributed all over the world. Those who think that we are not linked to the what happens in the market, I brought with me, this is the Aviation Week last week edition that shows the US stock market and the value of the top 25 of airlines and aerospace company. We can see a link 1-to-1 in a I think prospect of 1 year. It means that we cannot think that aerospace industry is not aligned to the market. Well, it's a bad news. Aerospace industry is aligned. Moreover, if we look at this chart, we can see that, and as a former guidance control engineer, it's an unstable, I think, control law, but we can see the parameters of trade growth, passenger growth, cargo growth in the aerospace, we can see it fluctuating around the GDP all over the world. It means that next year, this year, 2009, and next year, 2010, we expect quite sharp reduction in the volume of this market. This indicates that the backlog that some of the aerospace producers have in the commercial market will shrink. I think last crisis it was about 1/3 of this backlog evaporated. This time we suspect it might be even larger. Up to half of the backlog might evaporate, and this is a domino effect. If a large customer cancels its order, then you expect others to do the same. So industry are indeed linked to the change in the worldwide GDP. Now a different question. We have some other signals. What are the raw materials change? Is it good news or bad news? Well, the answer depends on the point of view. From the Indian point of view, I do believe it's really a good news. The price of oil reduced, it means that even an old aircraft or all passengers, all cargo aircraft can continue to fly. If you look at the chart, you can see that the cost of the jet fuel is aligned exactly to the cost of the crude oil, and it means a reduction that we see from $140 dollar per barrel to about 40, 45, whatever, I don't know what's the exact figure today, it indicates that the stability point, or the point where you can still justify utilization of old aircraft, is continuing. It means that the procurement of new aircraft will be postponed, not only because of the issue of interest rate, but also because of these parameters of the fuel. It happens to me to know that some of the Air Force, I think the expenditure that they have on the oil for their parameter is about 10%, so it's also a good news for Air Force. Then the aluminum for the industry, for aerospace industry, collapsed almost 60% from its top figures of last summer. It means that those who does not have long term of obligation to Alcoa, to other producers of aluminum, can enjoy these figures. So those who are building here aerostructures and sub-assemblies in India enjoy this parameter. HLS, Homeland Defense sector, is booming. It means because of what I mentioned previously, the leak, low-intensive conflict, which is a real threat in the world, it calls us to invest more in HLS. It means less in procurement of other defense sector, because it's a constant budget. Although it's different agencies, it's constant budget. So we, as an aerospace industry, needs to look all directions, 360 degrees. Now to the main systems that we discuss. We will discuss some of them in details. I choose UAV and UCAVs. Robotics I'll skip. Maybe next presentation within 2 years we will go also to this very, very interesting area. Well, the first is, I think we had some difficulties in presentation, so we skip the short video of what the UAV looks like today. Well, UAV trends in the market is interesting because it's probably the most rapid growing segment in the defense sector, from about $4 billion to about $10 billion in 2020. It means that if the budget of the whole defense procurement is about constant or growing by up to 1/3, it means that this will be in the expense of other segments in the defense sectors. Moreover, I have a very interesting assessment or news. It means that by 2015, we believe that UCAV concept will mature and begin to substitute some of the manned aircraft. Once again, UCAV will begin within the mid of the next decade to replace some of the manned aircraft. Not the UAV, the UCAV. So what is a UCAV, what is UAV? I cannot answer exactly the details. Later we'll go to it. I think, and I see here an opportunity for India to look at it, not only on the history of all platforms, but on the futuristics of the new platforms, which involve a different signature, which involve different persistent capability, which involve, of course, different propulsion and data gathering. Moreover, still we assess that U.S. will dominate this market. Currently, U.S. investing about 3/4 of the whole R&D in this market and 2/3 of the whole market. So U.S. is still dominant, and we feel that the rest of the world will increase its share up to about half of the total market. By the way, the number of hours flight, or that we have on mail for our small company II, is about 200,000, and it's increased by rate of about one dozen a month. So we would expect within a year to have it 3,000, etc. Because this type of birds are flying, it takes off today and it lands probably on Wednesday. So, or even Thursday. So this is where we are. 1 or 2 days of these birds are flying. These birds, for example, carry a variety of payloads, not only electro-optical as we see in the TV, but you can see on the wing some of the command, some of the signal intelligence, and on the belly of this UAV, of the Heron, we can see also a radar, which is a SAR GMTI radar, and usually it is a satellite communication or line of sight, so it can travel all over the world. Key technologies and key parameters in UAV are different than we saw at the previous time. Its size of the sensor and sensor performance, it means as sensor size and power consumption shrink, then you can install on a single platform variety of sensors. It means there is a division between the operational of this UAV. No one guide it. It's do it automatically. Automatic takeoff, automatic landing. So there are still some work for the guidance control experts here. And the data is being transmitted by other means to other location. It means that the central command and control can see it. A pilot in an aircraft, no matter which type of aircraft, can see what the UAV can see by the radar or by the SAR GMTI. There are some other parameters that we count as of extreme importance for the next generation of UAV. UCAV. Well, there are signs of in-depth activity of R&D in US, in UK, in Europe, China, and Russia. The evidence, we can see the photos, we can see the pictures, we can see some of the black programs, footprints in the budget. We don't know exactly what are the performance, neither the Neuron in France, nor the Dark Sword in China. But these UAVs, which are usually have very low RCS, radar cross sections, exist. I strongly suggest not to ignore them. Now the question is, what is the role of those UAVs in the modern battlefield, both in the heat and in the leak scenario, high-intensive conflict and low-intensive conflicts? Well, first what we can say is what not. It's usually not air superiority. Air superiority will be part of the manned aircraft. Their task is long range, long endurance, day-to-day activity where you cannot fly aircraft, your combat aircraft. You cannot fly it above what counts to be neighbor countries because it has its own effect of escalation. This you do currently today by satellites and in the future by UCAV. We have two categories, identify two categories. One is a medium and one is a high-end. High-end, more than 25 tons, up to 50 tons are the next bombers. Military aircraft, let's see some of them. Please try. Yesterday, I think one of the key designers of UAC from Russia says their share in the market will be 16%. Well, I have a very good news for him. Our assessment of our friends in Russia is that they will have about 20% in the world market. Maybe we are wrong. But the delivery of about 150 aircraft a year of about $7 billion that we assess for next year will go to about the same figure but with a higher cost of about $10 billion in 2020. What happens after 2020? Once again, we can say that we expect a reduction in the production rate. We cannot say exactly how, to what extent, but we expect it. Also, there is a shift of investment from the platform itself to the sensor on the platform, to the weapon system, and to the UCAV, as we said previously. We expect JSF to continue to accumulate. We expect the JSF cost to be escalated, but still JSF will dominate the market. And the fleet of the Asia as well as Europe will be a mix of high-low which means that you cannot afford to have Air Force which is only JSF or JSF-like aircraft or platform. It simply cannot be applicable. These are our assessment of the combat aircraft performance and technology. It means primary requirements is versatility, but data networks, data fusion, and ESA are driving forces. Let's look at the F-5 or MiG-21. Currently in today's scenario, you can have this type of aircraft or birds that flies. Their air-to-air performance are lousy, their other performance are very bad. Even if you take a radar from this aircraft and you install on it a BVR type of missile, if it has a data link, if it gets data from the ground, if it gets data from AWACS aircraft, it can hit all types of air superiority platforms. Once again, today the performance of long-range data collection, which is SIGINT as well as ESA radar, enable variety of aircrafts to be able to shoot down whatever platform you think of. So the answer is low observability. The answer now is a different signature. But still, low observability does not mean that ESA radar will not see you, does not mean that ESA radar platform will SIGINT. Accurate SIGINT equipment will not see it. Once again, the war between the interceptor and the platform, I think, is now tends towards the superiority of information and know-how by the sensors. The sensor becomes to be more accurate, longer range. Of course, the cost is quite fortunate, but still it's cost effective. What also we expect is that US will not maintain its exclusivity with stealth technology. Once again, stealth will not be part only of US technology. Trainers, we will skip on it. Helicopters, I think, is interesting because the delivery is about constant, very, very slow increase, but the helicopters will continue to compete with UAVs, with armed UAVs all over the Air Force, as we can see in US Air Force and some of the European ones. These are performance and technology assessments that we have. So what will not happen? The discussion of stealth technology, we think, is a dead end. Helicopters which are UAV, I think there is room for those helicopters, especially on the Marine Forces, not only in the Air Force, but the rest of the requirement, we saw it. I think NCO, NCW, and the management of external combat systems, safety system, all of them are crucial for these helicopters. Cargo aircraft, we expect it to be deja vu. It means there is no room or very limited room for new initiative in this cargo aircraft. The leading aircraft will be the C-17, CO-130J, and A-400M. There are some very interesting initiatives, such as the Embraer, such as the Indo-Russian initiative, C-27J in the medium term, etc. All of them can find their room, but if you look at the total market, I think it will hard to be justified from the economy point of view. As I said, deja vu. Now to some of the missiles and PGM. When I mentioned 100 years of the history, some of my friends noted me that, yeah, we are lighter than air men. We have balloons, tethered balloon, etc. Our history lies, I think, back to 250 years ago. And those who are missileers say, well, it's more than 700 years ago that the first rocket had been launched. And well, they are accurate. It's quite accurate. I think the PR guys from the aircraft have better performance than those of the missileers. So I challenge the missileer guys to improve their PR activity and to explains that yes, from the Chinese, I think the Mongolian and Chinese conflict in 14th century, it was the first appearance of the rockets. So I would like to ask forgive from my friends, from my missile friends. Well, surface to air missiles are some air to ground, etc. We will just see one of the examples. First, the transformation. In Winston Churchill's book on the Second World War, we can see, I think in the second book, he mentions that a simple V2 cost about 7 times as the American aircraft, and its accuracy was at least 10 times worse than the pilot target that sees through his eyes what is the target and impact and hit it. Well, it was probably a great strategic mistake at that time. However, currently, in 2010, the ability to bring the munition to a high accuracy is very good, and compared to the cost of platforms, there begins to be, I think, a change in attitude, whether we are using only aircraft as a major striking forces, or we take also missiles or air-to-ground equipment standoff in order to substitute it and not to export aircraft to what we will see within a minute, which is a SAM, surface-to-air market. Well, the SAM market currently involved with high technology. It's, I think its volume is about $2.5 billion a year, which might be increased a little, but not very much. It will be increased due to a missile defense program, maybe some of the rocket defense program, not because of the anti-aircraft medium range. We see the MRSAM is shrinking and the long-range air defense increase. We notice it in Russia from the S-400, we notice it from PAC-3 or other programs, similar programs, but this is where we are. And at the end of the day, there is a question, how many families of missile defense you are going to have? So VSHORAD we will have, but what happened in the middle, between the medium to the long range? It happens to be that current long range missile cost going down, the performance is increased both in terms of long range but also from the minimum range. And the issue of intercepting all types of incoming aircraft, anti-army missiles, UCAV, UAVs, whatever, is part of the requirements from these creatures. Some performance, BVR, ability to intercept stealth objects in from a reasonable range. Stealth, there are classified figures on it, but let's say much better than 0.1 square meter. It means that this type of anti-aircraft needs to work in conjunction with the tethered balloon radars or with AWACS in order to hit in a BVR scenario low-flying objects. So at the end of the day, once again, it is a system. It's not only a platform, it is a system where we are trying to integrate everyone in a network. And everyone means legacy, modern platform, and futuristic birds that will fly in this market. Air-to-surface objects are, once again, affordability is the name of the game. Affordability. We have a variety of state-of-the-art equipment, accurate, that can pinpoint all types of targets. The question is, does this target justify its cost? And the cost of air-to-ground missiles sometimes go beyond $1 million. And if you have 2,000-3,000 of this type of targets, it's very difficult. If you have to penetrate 5 to 10 meters of concrete within your munition, you can hardly do it with current equipment. We need to develop a different type of air-to-ground system. New PGM families. Once again, let's look at the loitering, which provide us the persistence we need above the battlefield, not only to arrive there, not only to bring such and such tons of ammunition, but to be there for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, actually one day. Can we do it? The answer is today we can do it. Then we see that bomblets are unlikely to be used in the future, not because of technical reason, but because the impact of, I would say, politics or the impact of global markets that we see. Now, a couple of words on airborne intelligence, command and control. This afternoon, my colleague Gideon Landa, who is expert in AWACS, will present the family of AWACS we have in Israel and the technology with our current Illusion 76 platform that is being done for India, and the Gulfstream family, and the Gulfstream, which we use both for intelligence in one platform, we can see in the picture, and the other as the AWACS. And the message is that current weight reduction enable us to implement on a very cost-effective platform, state-of-the-art technology that can compete with much larger platforms. So within the cost of ownership of Gulfstream family, you can achieve today the range and accuracies of what you had been used previously. And this is applicable both for the Navy and the Air Force, and I think you will refer to it. So in AWACS, who flies day to day, AWACS, unlike a combat aircraft, have to be able to fly day and night, and maintain its position. Well, the low operating cost is probably the main parameter. Space-based trends, we will speak on it. Now, a couple of words on key technology and key trends. We can see the key technology, variety of key technologies that we identify, and the trends in the markets that we see. And let's see the trends in the markets. Urban warfare, we mentioned previously, affordability for some of the weapon systems. The question today is not whether you can do it. The question today is at what cost. Then a system applicable for leak. What you give to the soldier. Does he have a very small UAV that can go to the other room? Can you put sensors in a suspected area? What can you provide to the fighter, to your fighters, to improve their performance in such a conflict? And such a conflict will occur. We mentioned UAVs and UCAVs. Human resource. At the end of the day, not most of the world nations can hardly afford what you can afford in India, a lot of war fighters. But still, those who operate those state-of-the-art technology could not be a PhD physics. They should be a human being that do your services at home or other places. This happens in Israel, it happens all over the world. So we have to look at it carefully. Then there is requirements and opportunities, different way of looking at it, and we quote here the CSBA from US. So today all weather is a critical requirement, but all weather at high precision. And this is a challenge for the aerospace and ISR community. Can we achieve this accuracy at day and night, in winter over Berlin scenario? And we believe we can. And then method of operation in urban area we mentioned previously. What is very important today is not only be able to do it, but also to give the right service. And with your permission, I go back to the Mahatma, late Mahatma, and I think what he said about the customer, he's not an outsider in our business. He is part of it. The countdown is 1 minute ahead. It's up. I hope it won't happen in countdown of missiles. Not because the missile, if you interview the missile, he feels very well. Those who are watching it and monitoring it might get a heart attack.
That's just to remind you, I made that advance.
Yeah, it's fine. We are always ahead of schedule. Some of my personal observation, well, firm growth, aerospace industry should grow. we have to remember it. Those who are maintain their position actually are going backward. When you are lack of critical mass, you have to focus, not doing everything. Focus and focus on the future. Focus on the future. Cooperation is what we need to do. Since we cannot see the video, I would like to say that the sky is not the limit in the aerospace industry. Thank you very much.
We have time for just 2 questions, quickly, if there are any questions. Okay, no questions?
You see, it's straightforward, no doubt.
Okay, let me quickly. We went for an excellent lecture from Mr. Ramati on various opportunities during the counter-terrorism activities, and the role of UAVs and market trends, the UCAV concept and its performance and technologies, and the IAI estimate for the market trends, the transformation from the combat aircraft to the missile, and the concept of affordability. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for an excellent lecture.
Thank you very much.
Opportunity to request Chairman to kindly present Aero India 2009 memento to Mr. Ramati.
Okay.